Are you waiting for your wife to come back before you take action? Here's the hard truth. If she doesn't see you change, she can't feel anything again. And waiting, that's what's pushing her further away. One of the most common traps I see with men is this thought right here. I just need her to soften, to come back a little, and then I'll take action. It feels logical, right? You don't want to overwhelm her. You don't want to make things worse. So you wait. You tell yourself, I'm giving her space. I'm being patient. I'm working on myself quietly. But the truth is, you're not leading, you're reacting. And what your wife sees isn't thoughtfulness. What she sees is more of the same passivity, right? That caused her to pull away in the first place. Let me give you a picture. A man, call him Eric, in his 40s, successful business owner. His wife says she's done, right? She's cold, she's quiet, she's emotionally checked out. And Eric's first instinct is to wait. And he thinks, if I'm calm, if I don't push, she'll notice I've changed. So he gives her space, works late, tries not to rock the boat, which is the worst way to make a woman feel unsafe, right? Is walking on eggshells. But what does she see? Not a new man, right? She sees the same man avoiding hard conversations, still walking on eggshells, still waiting for her to lead the emotional connection. That right there is the idea that she needs to come close before you can step up. But women don't reconnect through words. They reconnect through safety. Remember, the feminine is an emotional nature. And that safety only shows up when you show up differently, consistently, before she softens, before she feels, before she believes again. Don't wait for her to feel better. She'll feel again only when she sees something real. So here's where everything starts to shift, and this is what most men don't understand about women, especially when the relationship is cold, distant, or disconnected. Women don't reconnect through words, they reconnect through safety. And safety isn't created by promises, apologies, or working on yourself quietly. It's created by consistent leadership. That's why over here at The Heroic Husband, we're all about that action, okay? Being forged in the fire. That's where your masculine groundedness, clarity, and edge comes in. In other words, you lead first, then her feelings follow, not the other way around. See, men process connection logically. If she sees I'm trying, she'll feel different. Or worse, if she's not giving me anything, why should I even try? That's a very low on the totem pole type of a deal. And you'll see that insidious nature actually just permeate all throughout society right now. We can go into that greater process of how it's actually poisoning men and men are becoming weaker than before. But that line of thought stems from that weakness within men. But women process connection emotionally, okay? They live in feelings first, facts second. And those feelings aren't built on one core question, do I feel safe with you? Safe to be seen, safe to be open, safe to even want to feel something again. Think about it like this. Your wife is standing behind a locked door. That door is guarded by months or even years, right, of emotional pain, disappointment, and disconnection. And you're out there asking, can I come in? Can we talk? Can we go back to how it was? Which she doesn't want to go back to how it was. You can't reset the marriage like it's a computer. What you can do is build like it's a muscle. But she's thinking, why would I open the door? Nothing's changed. She's not waiting on an apology. She's waiting on evidence. Evidence that it's safe to feel again. The cycle's broken. That this new version of you won't disappear in 2 weeks. Let's say a guy named Brian starts shifting. His wife told him, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. She's emotionally distant. They barely talk. He's been walking on eggshells, which again, if you're walking on eggshells and you're avoiding tough conversations, right? First, in those tough conversations, you have to make sure that you don't have ego. But if you're walking on eggshells, that actually makes her feel very insecure and unsafe. Because if you can't have tough conversations, if you can't forge in that fire with her, how can you protect her from the rest of the world? So to continue, one day, Brian decides to stop waiting and start leading. He doesn't try to talk her into coming back. He simply starts showing up differently. He's calmer in the tension. He's present with the kids, not just present in the room. He listens without defending. He sets boundaries without blowing up. But her guard starts to drop because now his behavior is rewriting her memory of who he is, right? That's when her feelings begin to thaw. And little by little, she didn't say anything at first. And by the way, she's not going to. She's here, so here's the reframe. You don't need her to believe yet. You don't need her to come back. You need to become unignorable. Because when a woman feels safe, she feels everything else. All right, so let's get practical here, okay? I want to make sure you have actions moving forward. Because change, right, sounds great in theory, but unless it's visible, measurable, and consistent, it doesn't mean anything to her whatsoever, okay? So if your wife has shut down, here's the truth. She's not listening to what you say. She's watching how you move. She's not looking for a conversation. She's scanning for patterns, okay? So I always tell men, right, because this is a deep truth that I need you to hear. The man's superpower is his word, but it's not just what you say. Your word is backed by the masculine action. That's what she's looking for. A lot of men in today's society have become talkers, especially when things go wrong and they're all about saving the marriage all of a sudden. Well, yeah, where have you been? First and foremost. Secondly, she wants to see actions. Actions speak louder than words, okay? And women know that on a deep level because the feminine is emotional and the feminine goes up, down, all around. Will say she hates you 1 second and then she'll say she'll love you the next. Okay, and she'll go back and forth. You have to stay grounded in your masculine energy. So what does visible change actually look like? Okay, it's not about buying flowers. It's not about, quoting books or saying, I've been working on myself. A lot of guys like to do that. It's about what she sees in your energy, your presence, your decisions, and your consistency, the calm in the chaos. Do you stand grounded when she's cold or distant? Or do you get anxious, spiral, and try to fix it? She can feel that energy. Visible change looks like being unshaken when things feel tense. No more walking on eggshells. No more over-explaining yourself. It's you showing her, I'm stable. I'm not falling apart this time. Second would be purposeful action without needing her approval. Start leading without needing applause. That means setting structure with your kids without checking in, taking ownership of your time, your health, and your attitude, saying no with strength, not fear. That's a big one. A lot of guys act from anxious, fear, neediness, seeking validation. You have to find that all within yourself. You become a man who moves with or without her mood. So consistency trumps intensity. She's not impressed by dramatic 180 for a week, right? If anything, she'll think that you're just trying to manipulate her over here and she'll just think no, he thinks I'm stupid. Trust me, especially because in this situation, she feels hopeless. She probably feels a little helpless and she definitely feels worthless, okay? So she's watching to see, will this last? Visible change is the little things, speaking with calm, not tension, following through on your word, staying the same version of you even when she tests it. Imagine this. You're in the dead of winter. Your family's cold, the house has no heat, and suddenly you light a giant bonfire in the middle of the living room. It roars to life, flames are everywhere. For 5 minutes, then the room is blazing, but there's no structure. No chimney, no control. It scorches everything, it burns out, and it leaves behind smoke and ashes. That's what happens when a man tries to prove he's changed overnight. He explodes with apology, desperate gestures, long texts. but there's no foundation, no consistency, no safety. And to her, it's just another emotional fire she has to clean up. Now, contrast that with a furnace, small, steady, built right. You light it once and it runs. Day after day, week after week, quietly keeping the house warm, that's visible change. She doesn't need fireworks. She needs a fire she can rely on. Visible change means you're becoming the man that she doesn't have to question anymore. Not just for a week, not just when she's nice, but because that's who you are now. That's what creates emotional safety, and emotional safety is what rebuilds trust and restarts desire. Let me be real with you right now. If you're still telling yourself, I'll wait till she comes back a little bit before I change, that decision, that delay, may be the most expensive choice you ever make. Every day you wait to act, to lead, to shift, is a day she grows more certain that you won't. And I hope you can feel the passion in my voice, because I get guys coming to me crying, feeling hopeless, helpless, like they don't know what's going on. They don't know the path forward. And sometimes I have to shake it out of you, do tough love. But if I can, bang on the floor and be like, pay attention to this, I want you to feel this in my voice and in my spirit and everything that I can put into this microphone and video. Every day you wait to act, to lead, to shift, is a day she grows more certain that you won't. She's watching your every move, every single move. Just like you might be, I get guys messaging me all the time, private clients, and they go, Noah, she posted this, she did that. What about this? What about that? Just like you're doing that, even if it's no contact, even if she wants a divorce or separation, she's like gung-ho, which is actually just a protective mechanism, okay? She's watching you. Every single move you make. Not because she's angry, not because she's cold, but because your inaction confirms her fear. He only steps up when I do, and women want you to lead. And to a woman who's already emotionally drained, already guarded, already feeling invisible, that's not leadership. That's more weight on her back. Let me give you a picture. There's a man, there's a new client, call him Jason. His wife told him, I need space. I'm not happy. He thought, okay, I'll give her time. I'll lay low. Maybe she'll miss me. He watched some YouTube videos, took some notes, thought about change, but he didn't take visible action. 2 weeks later, she served him with papers. And when he finally started showing up as a man he wished he'd been earlier, she already emotionally moved out. Now, here's the hard truth, okay? This is what we're working with him on. Your marriage isn't a clock that you can just pause. It's not a computer you can reset. Time keeps ticking, and every day you don't lead, she builds a life in her mind without you in it. She's not waiting to hear you say, I'll do better. She's watching to see if you lead when she's not clapping for you. That's what builds trust. That's what stirs desire. That's what makes her think, maybe this is different now. So if you're telling yourself, I'll act when she softens, flip it, okay? Lead first. Because the cost of waiting isn't just her love, it's your chance to reclaim your role as a man she can trust again. If you've been sitting there and thinking, what do I even do now? Let me hand you a new identity. Not a gimmick, not a nice guy reboot, okay? I'm talking about stepping into the role of what I call the heroic husband. And no, this isn't about being perfect. It's about becoming a man whose actions lead the household, even when marriage feels broken. This is a roadmap. This is 3 stages to the heroic husband path. This isn't a random path, okay? It's been tested with thousands of men in the exact situation that you're in. There are 3 stages, and you don't need her permission to start. 1, healing, what I call EHP, the emotional healing process. This is where you stop the bleeding. You stop reacting. You stop chasing. You create calm in chaos, not just for her, but for you. You stop chasing. You create calm in the chaos, not just for her, but for you. You get honest. You take ownership, not because you're guilty, but because you're ready to lead. Second, there's the shifting that has to happen, the emotional shifting process. This is where your energy shifts. You stop being the version of you that's tied to old mistakes or old patterns. You start creating new emotional imprint every time she's near you. She begins to notice, wait, this feels different. He's not trying to fix me. He's actually grounded. Then there's the emotional bonding process. This is where connection starts to rebuild on her terms through your strength, not through pressure, not through pity, through magnetic leadership where she wants. There's genuine desire. There's a process of building that genuine desire. She wants to be there, not forced, not because she's obligated, which is horrible, right? Or it's like mechanical sex. No, the passion is there. You're no longer chasing closeness. You're pulling it towards you with quiet, consistent action. A man named Adam came to us completely burned out. His wife said, I don't feel anything for you anymore. He wanted to talk, fix, explain, but instead he followed the path. He stopped chasing her attention and he started creating calm energy in the home. He started journaling instead of reacting. He led family routines without waiting to be asked and without saying a word. She noticed. 3 weeks in, she said, you feel different. You okay? That was the first crack in the wall, not because he paused, but because he became a man she felt safe around again. That's what the heroic husband path gives you. A way to lead again, even if she's cold, distant, or ready to leave. It's not about being alpha. It's not about being perfect. It's about being undeniable. So if you're still here watching, let me tell you something. You're not here by accident. You're not a nice guy watching for tips on YouTube, hoping your wife magically changes, right? You're a man who wants results, a man who wants clarity, not comfort. And that's exactly why I created the heroic husband method. You've got 2 doors in front of you, okay? Door 1, you keep doing this alone. You keep watching, you keep thinking, you keep second guessing. Maybe you get some traction, maybe you don't. But every day you hesitate, it's the day the distance grows. Door 2, you book a clarity call. It's not therapy. It's not a sales pitch. It's a real conversation with a man who's walked the same path and knows how to lead you out of the fog. I had a guy named Chris tell me, I almost didn't book the call because I thought it was too late, right? Too late. It's never too late. His wife had already moved out. She told him she felt nothing. But within 30 days of taking action, not fixing her, not begging, just leading visibly, she was texting again, asking him to meet, starting to feel safe around him. All because he stopped hoping and he started executing real strategy. Or you can start with a book. If you're not quite ready for a call, then that's fine. Get the Heroic Husband book right now. It's not fluff. It's not 200 pages of recycled nice guy advice. It's the exact 3-stage process we use with men in the trenches to turn things around fast. So here's your next step. If you're ready to real results, book a clarity call with us now using the link below. Or grab the Heroic Husband Method book and start implementing that today. Because waiting isn't neutral. It's costing you time, connection, and possibly your marriage. You can do this. She just needs to see it. And it starts with what you do next. See you in the next video.